just ask you a few questions, just
Yeah.
like
Go ahead.
several of them, and just ask you to tell us, especially in the years before, say, the 80s.
51 to
as much detail as you
68.
can remember.
Okay.
And then we'll just go from there. So you're going to look at Dr. Kigondu. You're going to be talking to him. Stages, roll. Rolling. Okay, rolling.
Thank you, Dr. Dhillon, for granting us this interview of Kenya Medical Association at 50 years. I think you are the right person because you've been there longer than Kenya Medical Association in the medical field.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we want just you to tell us a bit about how medicine was from the years that you graduated, or you could tell us a bit of where you came from when you graduated, then through how you joined KMA, your involvement in KMA, and what
BMA and then KMA.
Yes, what in your role, what KMA has done, what you think the achievements have been, what you think the challenges have been, and how you see the role of KMA now and in future.
I have actually lived in Mombasa from 1939 as a schoolboy, and I went to India in 1945, and then I joined a medical college, and I graduated in 1953 from King George's Medical College, Lucknow. And when I came back, I got into service of the medical department. For 6 months, I was medical officer at Machakos, but I had always wanted to start my private practice in Mombasa, so 1954, September, I started my practice in Mombasa, and I have since that time been in Mombasa all the time. I am now retired for the last 7 years, but I have practiced for about 55 years. And I have always been very active in the KMA. Before the KMA, I had joined the British Medical Association. At that time, Dr. A.U. Sheth was the main man who was running the British Medical Association. So when the KMA was formed, then we also formed a division of KMA in Mombasa. And we have been very active. We used to hold regular lectures by doctors or by visitors at the Pandya Hospital. And we used to have a hall up there, but then it was not very good. So finally, myself and late Dr. Ramesh Desai and late Dr. Okanga, we were very active, so we collaborated with the Pandya Hospital, and we decided to build a very nice lecture theatre hall where people could come and address, and there was very convenient seating arrangement, fully air-conditioned hall, and with all the facilities for bathroom and for dinners and things like that. And that was in collaboration with Pandya Hospital. 50% of the cost was paid by KMA, and 50% of the cost was paid by Pandya Hospital. And we are still there, and we pay them now a certain fee every year for using that hall. It is a very convenient hall, and it's very, very useful for all the members. After the lectures or after the meetings, we have a place outside with a lawn and some benches to sit where the catering is done. And 90% after every meeting, there is dinner provided for either by the KMA or by the pharmaceutical societies who sponsor these lectures. And normally we have about 2 meetings every month. And in my opinion, I have been on the national KMA as well. I think the Mombasa division has been the most active division in Kenya. I may be wrong, but that's my impression. And then I started my practice in 1954, and I have practiced here for all these years. I have been very active in KMA. I was secretary of the KMA for 8 years. Then I was vice chairman, and finally, I think in 1971, I was chairman of the Coast Division. And then I became a national chairman of the KMA, which is a very rare honor because very few people from the divisions have become national chairman. And when I was the national chairman, I was traveling to India on a holiday, and then I was informed that the Commonwealth Medical Association is meeting in New Delhi. So I contacted the KMA here, and I represented Kenya at the Commonwealth Medical Conference in New Delhi. And then I extended them an invitation to come and hold their biannual conference in Mombasa. So when I was the national chairman of the KMA, then the Commonwealth Medical Association was held in Nairobi. So since that time I've been active. I still, though I am now retired, I still do and go to the KMA meetings off and on, and I'm still a member of the KMA since 56 or whenever the KMA was formed. Was it in 1960?
Yeah, 68. That's 68.
From British Medical?
Yeah.
68.
68.
And in my opinion, I have also been very active in other associations and organizations. I have been very active Lion member, and we have got a eye hospital which has been set up by my club, the Lions Club of Mombasa Pony. And we have got a very good hospital, eye hospital, and we have 2 consultants, and we treat about 2,000 free cataracts in a year at the Lions Center.
How was the transition from BMA to KMA? How was that period?
It was nothing very special. It was quite normal, and when we realized that the KMA is being formed in Nairobi, then we also changed our name from British Medical Association to Kenya Medical Association.
Would you say that there has, because of the transition from BMA to KMA, was there any noticeable change in the interaction, perhaps with doctors, along or in the course of time, whereas BMA might have been headquartered in maybe the UK? Would you say there was a change and a benefit for KMA to exist here in Kenya by its own?
No, it was because Kenya had become independent, and so obviously we should have our own medical association. So we found, and we were quite active. I have been attending the National Executive Council meetings in Nairobi when I was on the executive. I have been on the executive for more than 20 years of the Kenya Medical Association, and now I have given place to younger people so they can join.
All right. How about in terms of the achievements that KMA has made through the years? We have seen a very an upward trajectory in terms of investment, in terms of impact on the policy. What would you say that has been?
I think KM has done very well as far as having these regular divisions in different towns of Kenya, and then also we are having an annual conference every year, which is quite important and very useful to the members. And we have also done very well as far as the housing is concerned, which I think is very commendable, and that was a step in the right direction. The only thing which I feel the national KMA should be more active about is the ethical standards. I'm not very happy with some of the ethical practices amongst doctors in Kenya, and I feel I used to be the convener of ethical committee at the Mombasa Division, and I would call up doctors when I found there was something which was not very active and warn them that this is not right. And I still feel that the national KMA should be very active in ethical matters and also in matters of national health. For example, in Mombasa recently we have had sort of an epidemic of malaria, dengue and chikungunya, and a lot of people have been ill and the hospitals have been full. to my surprise, because I have been on the Municipal Council of Mombasa for about 10 to 12 years. I was deputy mayor, I was an acting mayor for about 10 months. We had a very active sanitary department. The people from sanitary department used to come to your house, individual houses of people, and come and see if there is any mosquito breeding, and then they would spray. Now, for the last so many years, since the county has taken over, I don't find anybody coming. I rang up recently the sanitary department and told them, why you are not coming? Then they came to my house. But that is an exception. But they are not doing, I think they come, I talked even the county health personnel, and I told them this is not right, and they feel the KMA of the various divisions should take active part in preventive health measures. If the government is not doing it or the county is not doing it, I think it is the duty of the KMA to raise that matter. All matters of concerning hospitals, sanitation, health, I think the KMA has to be proactive.
There has been two different opinions about this, especially now that now with the devolved health.
Yeah.
There have been one opinion that says that KMA should be at the forefront of engaging the county government in formulating policies. And there's another group that says that the county government should approach KMA and say, this is a gap that we realize that you should fill. What is your opinion about that?
Oh, I think KMA should. It is KMA's duty to see that the citizens are not deprived of the measures that should be taken to prevent breeding of mosquitoes and to keeping the town healthy, and the garbage is collected properly. At the moment now in Mombasa, things are not very good. And I feel, for example, you see the houses, the grass is overgrowing, so there's a mosquito breeding, rats breeding, snakes coming out. And recently all these people have been ill so much. This is because of not proper preventive measures being taken by the county. And I feel it is our duty as doctors and as KMA members to bring to the notice of the county all these matters.
All right. How about as a possible future? Would you have any recommendations for individual doctors and for KMA as a body? Would you recommend a possible future for what is the way forward?
Yeah, I would really like any doctor who is qualified or who gets registration with the Medical and Dental Practitioner Board, he should become a member of KMA. And most of the doctors are not becoming members of the KMA, and I feel the one way out is to have the KMA as a statutory body. I know this matter we have discussed about 20, 30 years back as well, but the other way is, some way we have to find that all doctors who qualify should become members of KMA. Then the KMA will have a very strong voice with the national government, with the county government.
And how about to young doctors who don't see what the role of KMA is now? You having been there from the very beginning, you have seen the role that it has played in your career as a doctor and in the health industry that you've worked in. What would you say to a young doctor coming in?
I think the young doctor are making a mistake by not joining, because KMA is providing a lot of facilities and a lot of advantages. For example, we have lectures by consultants, by visiting doctors, sponsored by the pharmaceutical societies, and there most of the subjects of recent advances in medicine and like CME is being done. So they are missing something which they should not miss, to keep up their knowledge up to date, and also to meet their own colleagues within the city and mingle with them, have a social contact with fellow doctors. I think it's very important that they should take this as their moral duty to join the KMA.
how can Kenya Medical Association get financial freedom or financial security? What ways of, I'm sure Mombasa Division have, especially in your time, gotten to like get assets, get good deals with Pandya Hospital, for instance.
Yeah.
How can they ensure that, because money is everything, for you to operate you need money, how can they ensure that they're able to put in place financial measures that will take the association through the next 50 years?
Yeah, if the membership is increased and if everybody becomes a member, then of course our financial position would be good. Plus, the pharmaceutical companies are always there to sponsor our conferences, our meetings, even sometime paying for the visit of overseas consultants who are coming to Kenya and to address the KMA. So that is the way to go ahead. And I'm sure if all doctors join the KMA, it would be really strong. And also we would be a very strong force, because the country would know that all doctors are members of the KMA, and our voice would be seriously taken by the county governments and by the national governments, because then we become like a strong union.
Yeah, this year we have the 46th annual scientific conference here in Mombasa, and also celebrating the 50th year of KMA. We want to ask you to invite people to the conference and to celebrate the 50th, the golden anniversary. Could you please do that for us?
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah,
Okay.
I will. Most certainly.
Yeah.
It will be a pleasure.
So could you just look into the camera, and then.
As the king of Mombasa.
All right, stand by. All right, so could you just do it, please?
Huh?
Yeah, just talk to the camera, invite people to come and celebrate 50 years and to the scientific conference.
Yes, I would like to invite my fellow doctors to come and attend the annual conference, and I'll make an effort to contact them personally on phone and ask them to join, because it's very important for them to attend the national convention of the KMA.
Repeat,
Yeah.
and when you